Welcome everyone back. This is episode 2 of the New American Podcast. So we're going to start where we left off. Spring 2006, graduation is upon us. Everyone is excited. I am as well. What decision am I going to make? Am I going to go into corporate America, into banking, finance, something related in those terms, maybe some fintech, tech? This is right around the same time where Facebook was becoming huge. YouTube was created a couple years after this. Google and Google search was booming. I, on the other hand, chose, and this was predetermined by the previous summer of 2005, when we were brought an opportunity to acquire 3 new sites in my hometown of Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I grew up. And so literally at 21 years old, a junior in college at the time, and having that opportunity, I doubled the size of the company by going in to a bank, and at that time BB&T, and basically giving them a pitch with a business plan and using words that, my parents as new Americans had never heard of. And they wouldn't be able to succinctly make that kind of pitch. And this is one of the things that we'll actually talk about a lot with our guests, and we'll come back to in the podcast about how to talk with bankers, financial institutions, and other individuals, investors included, on gaining access to capital, obtaining rounds of funding, getting SBA loans, conventional loans, development loans, any other type of loan product that you're looking for. So at this time, I go in, like I said, at 21 years old, and make this whole presentation. The commercial lenders at BB&T love it. And just off of that, and obviously existing cash flow and financials, my parents were able to obtain a $2+ million loan, and we were able to acquire these 3 new locations. So I worked all summer of 2005 and all of fall of 2005 and didn't go back to school because I had to set up the business. Because when you double the size of a company overnight, there's so many learning curves, right? HR management. So these are employees that we had to hire, a whole new staff. One of the biggest and craziest problems I found, and would spend a lot of time, like you would never think of this. So in a gas station or a convenience store, especially the ones that we had that might be in lower income neighborhoods, blue collar neighborhoods, they were heavy cash businesses. So I'm collecting $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in cash that we've got to turn around and deposit into the bank every day. So imagine banks are closed Saturday and Sunday. Everyone knows this. On Friday, if I go out of town for the weekend and I haven't made a deposit on Friday for 6 locations, I would be riding around at this time at 21 years old in my car with over $100,000 in cash, just in my car. And then it would be taken to the office or a central location. And I'm just sitting there counting money. And we spent so much time counting money. I told my parents, this is ridiculous. We're wasting all of this time. So what's the first thing I do? And this is pre-Amazon being a big thing, right? I get on, back then, 05, 06, eBay was the thing. I get on eBay and I order 2 different money counters. So I'm not a drug dealer, guys. You know, drug dealers usually have these. But in the convenience store industry, when you have that, and this is when credit card usage wasn't as big. And we talk about the 2000s like they were, you know, light years ago, but the technological advances that we've had from 2005 to 2015 to today in 2021 are light years ahead. So what we did was order these money counters, and that shaved off 2 hours of time spent just counting money. So little things like this is what I implemented, and I put it in the hands of my parents and said, hey, I'm going to go back spring semester, and had about 15 credits, 5-6 classes I had to take, get rid of them, graduate, and that was the point when I said, let's go. I knew the decision I was going to make. This is in my blood. I'm going to be the next big C-store king owners like my parents were when they worked for a large company like Circle K. The goal was to be the next Circle K, 7-Eleven, that type of company. One of the things that we noticed very quickly on was having proper staffing, having the right type of inventory. And these are the things that I took upon myself. If you've ever been in a gas station, which many of you have, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different items from candy, cookies, gum, sodas, you know, and all the way through alcohol, cigarettes. I mean, there's 8 different kinds of waters, right? And learning the inventory, learning what sells, what turns over, what makes you money was some of the biggest things that I did. And I wanted to be really good at that and become basically like a C-store guru. And I did that by looking and automating a lot of our data. So what we did is we put in a scanning system that back then was not in use in many stations. And using that scan data to better provide for what sells in certain neighborhoods compared to other neighborhoods. One of the things that I learned is that gas stations do best in low income and working class neighborhoods because there are no grocery stores in those neighborhoods. So we ended up becoming almost a de facto grocery store for them. So we would sell more grocery type products in those areas, whereas in the higher income neighborhoods, it would be more focused on craft beer, wine, all different types of soda, juices, just quick grab and go stuff. And you've seen that evolution to today where when you go into a C-store, a lot of it has moved over to food service. One of the largest C-store companies here on the East Coast, Sheetz, they don't even classify themselves as a gas station. They classify themselves as a quick service restaurant with gas. But as many of you know, the type of food they sell is all fried and very unhealthy for you. But that's why if you're eating gas station food, you're either drunk, high, or a working class person, unfortunately. We do need, I think, better food in these lower income areas. But that's a whole different topic. Moving on, I think one of the other fiascos that taught me a lot was the environmental issues pertaining to C-stores, when I left to go back to college to finish up my last semester, I had hired an environmental consultant and we paid like $100 per site per month, right? So it's about $600 a month because at this point we have 6 sites. And he would make sure that we would stay in compliance with the state Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. And my father, being first generation immigrant, says, hey, we're spending an additional $600 for what? It's a waste of money, not knowing that all of these laws have kicked in. The Clean Air Act of 2005 had added all these additional rules. And because of that, he gets rid of our environmental consultant. I come back thinking that the guy's still coming around, bring it to end of 06, early 07, and my father, we have a inspection from the state, an annual 3-year, it's a triannual inspection every 3 years. As we are having this inspection go on, I'm dreading the fact that my father has fired this environmental consultant and we have no idea what the state's going to come up with. So the state basically gives us all of these notice of violations, causing about $300,000 in work. So for $600 in savings a month, my father ended up costing the company $300,000. So I still don't let him live it down to this day. And moral of the story here, guys, is if you don't know something about a specific portion of your industry, hire someone that does, learn from them, or have them take care of that. Delegation of tasks and duties to maximize what you do best is the best way to get ahead, because there is a time value of money. And there's an opportunity cost associated with having other people do certain parts of work that either you don't have the time to do or that you're not knowledgeable enough to do. Similar kind of explanation on this. Why does Elon Musk or Tesla hire the smartest engineers, right? He's not going to know how the battery cell works in the car or how to put them together, but he puts 10 guys in a room that are the smartest in their industry to do that. And this is one of the big things I think that the tech industry has done really well, is value what I call human capital and human expertise. A lot of other industries today still don't believe that. If you look at legacy industries in fossil fuel, retail, even in banking and finance, Wall Street firms, they're losing talent left and right to technology. Because everyone knows today a tech entrepreneur or even a tech worker at a large company can make more than an entry-level investment banker. So why would I go into investment banking today or go work at a financial institution when I'd rather go to tech? So you'll see that brain drain from finance moving over to the tech sector. And one of the big things that helped me after this was learning all I could about the environmental consequences and going to what the state calls tank school. So now, not only am I an expert in the C-store industry, I knew everything about the oil and gas industry, how obtaining a jobbership license, how to transport fuel up the pipeline, how that whole process works. A lot of people at my age or even older at that time just knew the inside sales, the C-store of the business. I learned not only the gas station portion of the business, but also the oil company portion of the business, which led us to, in 2010, start our own oil company. So everyone, stay tuned to the next episode of the New American Pod, where we talk about my first failure, and we're also going to start talking to guests about kind of their upbringing, their forays into entrepreneurship, and what they think were their failures, their advantages, and kind of getting their perspective. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time.